Hello and welcome to the last episode of the BIAV webinar series. If you've made it all the way through to episode 6, you deserve a gold star. Thank you very, very much for your willingness to stick with it. In this session today, we're going to talk about how you contact your legislators. It's not that hard, and we're going to try to make it a little bit easier for you. You know, I've started all of these with a quote, and the start of this one is a quote from Samantha Power. She was the UN ambassador, and in that role, you know, she had lots of opportunities to see the needs of the world. And one of the things that she said, which I truly believe, is that all advocacy is at its core an exercise in empathy. And I think that by and large, that's what drives a lot of us if we're advocating for somebody else. It's our empathy towards the situation that they find themselves in. You know, I've been preaching all along about the need to contact legislators. You know, I do a lot of these sorts of presentations, and I look out into the audience, and I know that people are sitting there and they're saying, well, somebody is going to do this. And I tell them to look to their left and look to their right and figure out which one of those threes is the somebody. Because you can't assume that other people are going to do it. But here's also what I know. There have been any number of studies that have looked at the amount of communication it takes to raise something to a legislator's attention. What is the tipping point, which is something we discussed in a previous session when I quoted Malcolm Gladwell. So when is it that an issue becomes important for a legislator? And I've heard that all it takes is 10 letters, phone calls, or emails. That's it. So be part of that 10. You can do that by calling, as I said, or writing or emailing a policymaker. You can also participate in public meetings and provide testimony, like at the budget hearings that we talked about in session 4. One of the things that you can also do is write a letter to the editor or contact a reporter and tell them your story. It's always a great idea to do these sorts of things around the time the General Assembly is in session, and send them copies of the clips, because this is one of those things that lets them know that it's been out into the public and the public has seen it and hopefully responded to what they've heard in the story or in the letter to the editor. Another thing that you could do would be participate in Partners in Policy Making. This is a free leadership program that's provided by the Virginia Board for People with Disabilities. While it's largely geared toward individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, there have been a number of people who are connected to the brain injury community that have also taken this class and turned into the most amazing advocates. It teaches people how to be community leaders and how to advocate for the best available services, either for themselves or for somebody else. It pairs them with people who understand this process and teaches them how to become, you know, active partners, trusted partners with policymakers whose decisions, you know, make or break their futures. And it provides an empowering feeling to those folks who participate in it because they believe that they can make change possible. On the BIAV website, there's a link to this Who's My Legislator function. It's an online tool that can help anybody determine what federal and state legislators represent them. Here's the link. It's also on our website, as I said, and all you need to do is in this section right here where my mouse is circling is enter your home address to find out who your legislators are. In terms of what's most effective when you contact your legislators, personal visits are without a doubt the most effective way to turn someone's heart or change their mind. We've often said that the best time to meet with legislators is not when they're in session, because they're really pretty busy while the General Assembly is in town. But the best time and the best place to meet with them is anytime you can get it and in their home offices. They're going to have a little bit more time if you can reach out to the legislator. And even these days, what we've been doing is just setting up quick Zoom meetings, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. We get a bunch of people on the phone. We set up a Zoom meeting. We talk to the legislator, we tell them the stories of the people that we care about, and then we ask for support if that's part of the call. Sometimes all we want them to do is just know we're around and maybe come visit the programs. You know, what we know is that people who are really effective in terms of, you know, meeting with their legislators are folks that practice their message, who know what they want, and can effectively speak in public. Means that you can stay on topic. You know, sometimes folks with brain injuries can get a little tangential or off topic. So it's really important that if you only got 15 minutes, that you're clear about your message, you're clear about what you want, and that you convey that message concisely and clearly. We know that messengers who are diverse can sometimes help illustrate the breadth of a problem. So we want to make sure that anybody that has a brain injury, despite their nationality, their sexual orientation, their gender, are reflective of the community at large, and brain injury is a large and diverse community. So that's what we look for when we talk to legislators. And we also want people who understand and support our advocacy goals and can speak intelligently about them. That's why we put so many materials on the website. That's why we do webinars. That's why we're on the calls to help. You know, sometimes when we meet with legislators, we meet with them, and sometimes we meet through their staff members if they're really, really busy. We almost always meet with staff members if we're in person at the General Assembly, but as we've been preparing for the upcoming General Assembly, we've been doing a lot more Zoom meetings. Most of the time in the Zoom meetings, we actually get FaceTime with the legislators, but every now and then that's still difficult, particularly if there's a timing crunch. And so we meet with their staff people. You know, their staff people are really, really important to legislators, so don't feel shortchanged if you meet with a staff person. You know, they're often the gatekeepers of information for the legislator, and the legislators really rely on the opinions of their staff. So you want to go into a meeting with the staff the same way that you would a meeting with the legislator. You want to be prepared, you want to be clear, you want to be enthusiastic, and you want to ask for their support. I think I said in a previous session that, you know, all legislators put their pants on one leg at a time. You know, and this is just a little card that sort of makes fun at that. Really, these are just ordinary, everyday people, and there's no reason to be nervous, particularly on a Zoom call when you're just going to have a little bit of an informal conversation about who you are and why your story should be important to that legislator. And as we come to the conclusion of this webinar series, you know, one of the things that I want to say is it's really important that folks support BIAV. At BIAV, we only have the equivalent of, you know, a very, very part-time employee working on these advocacy issues. But we know that when we're successful, it makes big changes. You know, prior to 2007, we weren't getting a whole lot of money from the General Assembly, but our advocacy efforts have really paid off. And today we're just a little less than $6 million for community-based supports and services. And that happens because people get involved. With you, we can help change lives, but without you, we can't. And we need you to advocate and bring others to the cause. You need to get mad, you need to get talking, and you need to get involved. Advocacy takes a lot of time and a lot of money, so you need to give a little or a lot or both. And one of the ways that you can support our advocacy efforts is by becoming a member of BIAV. That information is all on the website. And we'd love to be able to say that we were a state organization that represented, you know, 1,000 members who had an interest in the advocacy initiatives that we were pushing to create a better, safer, stabler, more engaged life for people with brain injuries in the community of their choice. And we know you feel the same way, or you wouldn't still be listening to all of these webinars. So please consider joining our efforts in a formal way become a member of BIAV, and help us create the future that we want. Thank you so much.